All right, Saagar, what are you looking at?
Well, everyone here knows I never miss a chance for a history lesson, so I thought in the midst of one of the most extraordinary moments in UFO history, it's important we take a step back, look at the past behavior of the US government on this topic as we attempt to parse all of what we know right now in real time. There's a lot of disbelief right now as to how the US government can shoot down 3 objects in the course of 3 days and basically tell us nothing about what's going on. But sadly, it actually fits a long-time pattern of our government hiding the truth from us, and in many cases, obfuscating extraordinary events in the hope that we will lose interest and just move on. It's worth noting this has been a feature, not a bug, about UFOs from the very beginning, starting at Roswell. Let's review the basic facts. We know that in the summer of 1947, a New Mexico rancher found debris from a crashed object on his land, after several UFO flying discs sightings were reported all over New Mexico. The debris was brought by the rancher to Roswell Airfield, where the commander on site inspected it and put out a statement saying, quote, "The many rumors regarding the flying disc became a reality after the examination of the debris." And then, the next day, the government reversed themselves, saying, no, it wasn't a flying saucer or a flying disc. Actually, it was a weather balloon. Here's a photo for you. They stuck to that story for 50 years, when in 1994, they said after the Cold War, actually, wreckage from Roswell, it was part of a classified US government program known as Project Mogul, and it was a high-altitude balloon equipped with microphones that were designed to secretly float over the Soviet Union. They came up with the weather balloon story as a decoy. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. But Roswell set the tone for which UFOs would be treated by the US government. Lies, obfuscations, sophisticated programs designed to keep as much information from the public as secret as possible. Despite the fallout of Roswell, UFO sightings, they didn't stop. Not from normal people. Pilots themselves were forcing the Air Force and the US military to create a task force dedicated to studying the UFO phenomenon. And this took on a few phases. It began in 1947. There was Project Sign, Project Grudge, and Project Blue Book. I'm skipping over a lot of history here, but the most extraordinary thing to occur during this initial phase is an alleged document that was known as the, quote, estimate of the situation. It was written sometime, if it ever existed, in 1948, after analyzing several incidents. This document, alleged by the Project Sign member and former Air Force Captain Edward Ruppelt, concluded that the UFO phenomenon was extraterrestrial life. The report was approved by the group that was studying the phenomenon before being rejected out of hand by the Chief of Staff of the United States Air Force. Then a critical incident happened. The 1952 UFO scare right over Washington, D.C., right here. 7 blips were spotted on the radar. Air traffic controllers at Reagan National Airport. One was moving at a very high rate of speed that was irregular. U.S. Air Force pilots were dispatched to intercept the object. They claimed they saw it with their own eyes, narrowly missed them. The radar signal was verified at nearby bases, military bases, in a frantic search. They still couldn't find him. A week later, the exact same thing happened again. And the headlines at the time screamed about flying discs, saucers, pilots, outflow of US jets, and the press for once was actually trying to do its job. They were hammering the Truman administration, the Pentagon. They needed to provide answers. So what does the government do? What it does best. It lied. First, the general responsible for answering questions about the incident obfuscated every single detail possible from the press before landing on the preferred explanation that they have today. It was a, quote, temperature inversion. An explanation that holds no weight at all, and one that they landed on after frantically searching internally for something that they could use that might stop people from asking questions. The second thing they did was they convened a new group. It is known to history as the, quote, Robertson Panel. The panel was put together by the CIA in a joint advisory committee tasked with understanding UFOs. Now, instead of actually understanding UFOs, they reached a different conclusion. Actually, what they needed to do is a public education campaign to convince the American public that UFOs were nonsense, to weaponize the press, use prominent people in pop culture and media, including the Walt Disney Corporation, to convince Americans that UFOs were not a threat to American national security and that only cranks believed in them. This was at the height of CIA power in America, when they involved all sorts of insane black ops here in American soil, experimenting on American citizens to try and find a path to mind control. It set the tone from that day forward, from Project Blue Book, where the sole purpose of the project was to stigmatize UFOs, bury the evidence, cover it up, twist American public opinion away from any curiosity. And the reason I'm taking you through this torturous history is because this legacy of secrecy pervades the entire Pentagon today. We are really supposed to believe we had 3 UFOs shot down in 72 hours. There's not one photo of that wreckage. This is in an age where we knowingly put Hellfire missiles in moving cars in Afghanistan and have had that capability for over 20 years. Keep this in mind. This is after an extraordinary 5 years where we have literal video evidence of insane objects moving at high rates of speed. We have pilots on the record in the media believing that they saw something extraordinary and they have receipts to back it up. After all of that, they still drag their feet. 2 congressionally mandated reports release as little information to us as humanly possible. At the same time, they fulfill their Robertson panel dreams. They have stigmatized UFOs to the American public using the media as their mouthpiece. Watch this clip that we showed you earlier. The White House telling us there's no evidence of alien spacecraft. Don't worry about it. The press corps, they giggle like little school children.
I know there have been questions and concerns about this, but there is no indication of aliens or extraterrestrial activity with these recent takedowns. Again, there is no indication of aliens or terrestrial activity with these recent takedowns. Wanted to make sure that the American people knew that, all of you knew that, and it was important for us to say that from here because we've been hearing a lot about it.
The Robertson panel could have barely dreamed of a more compliant press corps than what you have right there. The good thing, though, is we do have the internet on our side and the ability to ask questions that we couldn't before. Maybe there's a benign explanation for what these aircraft that we shot down are. But one thing you should be sure of, don't believe any of the assurances from the US government on any of this. And anyway, that's what I come down to. I don't think people really know the history.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Saagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us, and if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.